So there has been so much noise about one term in recent time, and this noise will not go away anytime soon. As a matter of fact, it will continue to reoccur every election period. That's because we have actually uh, ascribed to zoning as a core political culture for our nation. And that is one major way that the PDP and former President Olusegun Obasanjo destroyed the country. You know, zoning, amnesty, have been seeds of destruction sown by PDP that it will take a lot of reorientation for us to overcome this phenomena. I will leave the issue of amnesty for another day, but talking about the noise surrounding a single term. Of course, it is the right of any aspirant or candidate to decide whether to submit himself or herself for election, and it should be the right of Nigerians to determine whether such persons are fit to lead the nation. But what we have seen so far is much more like an elitist arrangement. Of course, zoning is an elitist arrangement. It is designed in such a way to avoid the rancor, that is the leadership rancor within that elitist class. The man from the north would be willing to wait for the turn of the north, knowing very well that it is still the business of the elite. And even while the man from the south probably is the president and all of that, those of them in the north still tend to benefit, because when you talk about appointments, a Yoruba president would definitely appoint people from the north. Ministerial appointments, advisors, head of parastatals and all of that. So these appointments are within the elitist formation. So they are willing to wait, whether it takes for 8 years, as the case has always been, before power shifts either to the north or to the south. But in all of this picture, where is the place of ordinary Nigerian? There are most of us, who are clamoring and supporting this kind of political culture where we zone presidency to the north, between the north and the south. Whereas we don't stand to benefit anything, even when it is zoned to your particular region from the south. It is still the elites within the south who grab it all, and even their collaborators in the north who grab it all. Where is the place of the common man in all of this? So this message is to ordinary Nigerians. It is time for us to question this setup, because we have had zoning since 1999, and we have yet to see the impact of saying, okay, the north should run for 8 years before power moves to the north, to the south. We have not really, had that transformational, experience as a nation, giving our allegiance to zoning. What I believe is that zoning actually sacrifices the most credible leaders to lead our nation, especially where you begin to argue that there are credible leaders from every part of the country. I know every zone in the country has competent leaders, but for crying out loud, what we should be looking out for is the best of the best. During every election, our concern should be electing the best. If you say, yes, there are competent leaders from the south and from the north, let us have the most competent amongst those. We cannot sacrifice our best players on the altar of zoning. So if a man is more competent and is from the north, and you are saying it is not the turn of the north, what do we stand to benefit with such arrangement? So it is even more painful that ordinary Nigerians who are at the receiving end of all manner of policies thrown out by these proponents of zoning, leaders whom are not actually leaders, we continue to even support this kind of formation. It is very painful. So it is time that we rise above this mediocrity of zoning, where the question is whether the man is from the north or from the south. But what we should be looking at, who has the most convincing plans to address our needs and concerns as Nigerians. I always say, I don't care whether the president is from the north, whether he's from the south, whether he's a Christian or a Muslim. All I care is give me development at all costs. And that should be our focus as ordinary Nigerians. We should begin to look at these candidates who have the most convincing plans to address it. It's no matter of mere political rhetoric or showmanship. So it is time for us to question zoning in our nation. Zoning has actually done more harm than good. That is why we're hearing this narrative of somebody saying, I will do one term, because he really wants to please the powers that be. He wants to respect that elitist arrangement, but it does not do us any good. So these are, practices that we've adopted over two decades, and we have not made progress as a nation, and will continue to kind of advance these mundane ideas. It is time that we think differently, act differently, and make the best decision. I remain Francis Onyema, 2027 presidential aspirant. Thanks for stopping by.